Oh, we're live.
Hello.
Hello. All right, now everyone start singing.
No.
I won't. I won't. But everyone else start.
We're just gonna get really, really bad, disjointed happy birthdays in the chat.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, friends.
Come
Oh my
on
god, the
in.
little me turned out so cute. I thought it was gonna be like way too out of style.
No, it works.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's my. I didn't want to figure out how to make it do the thing
Do the little
again.
hoppy thing. That's fair.
I didn't.
Thank you for all the birthday wishes, guys.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Hi everybody. So you may have seen earlier today this was going to be a brainstorming stream. And then I was like, "Wait a minute. Jackie, do you want to say hi to everyone for your birthday?"
Yeah.
Cuz to be fair, my brainstorming I don't know if my brain is ready to storm today. But Jackie threw together a very cute thumbnail for the occasion. So, yeah.
There's a great picture. I just looked up like raccoons being silly.
Yeah.
And there's a great picture of a really chunky raccoon just chilling on his back. Like he wasn't holding anything. He just kind of was, you know, the raccoons when they touch their peats together.
Yeah.
And I knew that was the one.
Well, it's perfect. I love the video of the raccoon that wants to clean off the cotton candy.
They're very clean animals in terms of like wanting to clean their food, but they also are dirty because they live in the trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think they live in the trash, but you know what? You know what I mean.
I mean, they could. I'm sure they have. It's not like
Probably.
period, but you know. So hi everyone, welcome in. We're gonna hang out. This was all very thrown together, so we don't have a ton of like big plans. We're just gonna hang out and bullshit for a little bit. Obviously we will be answering questions. You can use the question form. It's in the pinned comment, it's in the description. You know the drill by now, or maybe you don't. You might be new here. If so, welcome.
And we'll get you.
We sure will. We're gonna indoctrinate you.
Welcome to Dreamer.
Yes, welcome to Dreamer. I should have had my 5 p.m. coffee.
That's fair.
But now it's 6, and that's pushing it. And I had a coffee at like 3 and forgot that it existed. Just like I forgot everything existed because I was building settlements in Fallout 4. So that was great. That's my nowhere place.
I'm excited. Have you progressed in the story at all?
No.
Besides, no. No.
Fuck that kid. I've already moved on. I've moved on from all of that. Oh
boy.
Yeah. So I want to go ahead. We're gonna skip ahead to this question. I will answer general questions as well. So like if you don't have anything for Jackie in between Jackie questions, I'll answer whatever. But I want to give this one to Jackie real quick. This is from William the Rat. Love your content. Just wanted to ask if we could hear more about the Dear Lady. Could you explain for those who might not have seen or understand that reference?
I sure can. So in the most recent, was it the Escaped finale?
Yeah.
The most recent Oron big illustrated episode. He gets a cereal box, and when we were designing that, I had no clue what to put on it, and I had been super hyper fixated on this character that I made, who I also sometimes like to draw as a deer because I love animal symbolism. And so I pitched the idea to Yuri, and he was cool with it. So that's the deerlies. But I'm gonna give you my version, my quick version of what I turned her like fandom story, like integrated into the canon of that media, and I turned it into my own thing. So there's still a bunch of like loose threads, and I'm still figuring out big parts of her story. But the big overview of her whole thing is that she is kind of like this bodyguard, but for information. She works for this very big company, and one department of this company transfers a lot of information from their studies to other parts of this company. And her whole thing is that she works with a group of security, I think is the right way to call them. And she protects this information, whether it's in like a USB stick or whether it's someone who like has the information and has to travel to a different place to relay it, or if it's like on a laptop or whatever. She is with her group, with her team, protects that information. And she works in the department that works with a lot of doctors and a lot of people who like study medicine and like different powers that exist in that world, and different things that manifest in that world. So at one point during her story, she befriends a doctor there, and he ends up going a little crazy, like Mad Doctor type of vibes. And he wants to he goes from studying on animals to studying on people. So he picks off the people that he thinks are the easiest and the ones that no one will question if they just disappear. And she's very quiet. She doesn't talk about her personal life. She doesn't really have a lot of people in her life. Again, haven't figured that part out. Like, I don't really know her parents or her, like, if she has siblings or her whole backstory situation. But she's very easy to kind of yoink out of her job, and like people might question it a couple times, and then eventually they'll just replace her. So he does that and runs tests on her and tries to see if the power and the shit that exists in this manifested world, tries to see how much of the human body can withstand that. And in doing so, I don't know how to explain it, because again, this science quite literally just doesn't exist, because he's able to like make her fuse with these monstrous beings, and she can shapeshift into these monsters, not at will. Then he realizes, at this point, she's too far gone. I can't control her anymore. She's too dangerous, and I got everything that I needed to learn about from her. So I'm just going to use her as a pawn. And then there's a whole expanse of her story that I'm still figuring out. There's a couple years that pass by that I'm still figuring out. But there's a companion that I draw with her a lot, and that's this big dark wolf with red eyes. He looks wolf-ish, but there's something a little off about him. Like, he's a very stylized wolf, and it's not just because the style I draw their like animal symbolism versions in is very stylized. Something's a little wrong with him. And what she learns, or what exists and they only learn later on, is that she is subject to, so this doctor worked on her as the second like human study, and the first subject was Wolfie. And he went through the same thing. And so their whole thing is they're hunting down this doctor to stop or to reverse what happened to them, while also trying to figure out if there's any way to control these like monstrous outbursts where they randomly shift. One of them can control it better than the other, and there's a reason for that as well. But in finding out and learning more and trying to hunt down this doctor, they find out that there's this really ancient, awesome in the way that the word is used in like the Bible, power that was also infected them when all these studies were being done on them. And so it's also the story of figuring out why or what this power is and how it got, like how they both hold two halves of it, how to get rid of it, what it's there for, what will awaken it, and so on and so forth. So it's just a very fantastical story that is from a piece of media. Like, it's not all me, but I'd like to twist it and make it my own thing. But yeah, that's my dear girl. Go ahead.
Look, for the amount of people that have published media that used to be a fucking Star Wars fanfic,
right?
I think you're okay.
Right? But yeah, and then there's also two other characters that one of them has a really big part in the story, but I'm still trying to figure their story out, or how it connects with my dear girl. And their animal symbolism is a king cobra, and then the other one is a golden retriever with a little like vest on. Their story isn't really as important, but
wow.
But no, I related to my dear girl. But there is a version of her story that is just like Wolfie and the king cobra aren't as big of a part, because I like to sometimes be like, okay, so what if she existed, but now it's her story affects this character more, or her story intertwines with this character more. But my main story with her is her and her Wolfie companion, because of their ancient, scary power that rests within them that they eventually get rid of, but it's a whole thing.
We're about to take a sharp right turn. Z asks, Jackie, top 3 hosier, go, go, go.
Oh boy. The first one that came to mind, which isn't my top 3, well, it's in my top 3, but it's not like high up, is Abstract Psychopomp. I love that song. I don't know what drug he put in that. I don't know what it was, but like, and I was so excited to hear it live, and I got to hear it live, and I'm pretty sure like I blacked out. That one's definitely up there. In no particular order: Abstract, Jackie and Wilson, and Work Song, I think, are my top 3. But that's constantly shifting. I think the only one that stays up there is Work Song, because I love the lyric, no grave will hold my body down. I think that's Work Song. Oh god.
That's the one where he says, you better work, bitch, or something.
No.
That's not, but it's Work Song.
Isn't that Britney Spears?
I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know at this point.
But yeah, I think those are my top 3 right now. But Work Song is always up there.
Let me knock out a few real quick. Bastoff asked, does Yandere Finn wear broken glasses and his hair down while working at his flower shop? Also, does he have different vibes, some garden variety Finn when Orchid isn't around him? I've never really thought too deeply about it, just because, like, hadn't really thought too deeply about him. Really. I like to think it's kind of like a Superman situation where he's chilling until he's not, I think. Spoolie asked, does Lost and Found and Bittersweet take place at the same time period, or does Lost and Found take place in the future or something? Lost and Found takes place roughly, don't quote me on this, a month or two after Bittersweet Chapter 3. So like the order of events matters, but like not for listening purposes, but in terms of how the story is going chronologically, that is the case. What else do we got? Kiri asked, how'd you learn to do a southern drawl? I lived in Tennessee for over a decade, most of my adult life, I would put it that way, and child life. So it wasn't that hard. Of course, like southern is such a broad umbrella. You've got a whole lot of things that most people would just call southern, but there's several variations. So I just kind of wing it. Let's see. We've got Radiant Red asking, Jackie, I enjoy seeing your Colette art. What got you into playing Viera, and has Colette always been one? For those of you who don't know, this is a Final Fantasy XIV question, which is the bunny race. The Viera is the bunny folk.
Colette's always been a Viera. I originally was going to play Mikote, but not in a... I don't want to sound like a pick-me.
I'll say it. Let me say it. Let me say it.
Say it.
I wouldn't play a cat girl because I think they're overplayed.
Yeah.
And that's the nicest way to put it.
It just wasn't for me. And like, I love Mikote. I think they're really cute. But I didn't want to play a like cute class. Again, no, I'm not talking shit. I'm not trying to play that down, but like in my eyes personally, I think they're cute in a very like girlish way. I think like Elysian women and Viera are fucking hot, dude. Like that's just, again, completely personal. And I made Kali like 4 years ago today because I was gifted Final Fantasy 14. I keep getting it mixed up with 15. On my birthday. And she's always been a Viera. I love bunnies, and I've known about bunny girls, but I think it was the first time I'm like, oh my god, bunny girls. So I got really excited, and then I kind of delved into the lore. I didn't know, I think it's Final Fantasy 10 where like Fran is.
Fran, nah, it's 12. Well,
Fran,
I mean, wasn't she? I don't.
But when I started playing Viera, I like jumped right into whatever lore was available for them, and I just really liked their like, I don't know, the whole like green word thing where they, are supposed to be these quiet wardens of the wood. And I love the idea of Colette being this like, I like other people too much, and I have to be the next heir to like the chiefdom to my clan of Viera. But what if I don't want that? And I think she's a very fun, like, just very aggressive lady, and I love that about her. She's very Meg from Hercules coded. That's her voice claim. And yeah, I loved her. She was also born from, at the time, I was obsessed with this otome. I believe it's pronounced Takuoki. And there's a character in it who very heavily inspired Colette's like personality, and there's another character who very heavily inspired her backstory, and so that's also a part of it. But yeah, I knew, I learned what a bunny girl was for real, and it was over from there. For the next like 2-3 years, I was desperate to own a bunny. Like, I was looking every other day at bunnies that were available for adoption. So yeah.
Glowing Rune Helm says happy birthday, Jackie. And then ask, how's the cats and progress on Echoes? The cats are good. Cats are all good. Haru's kind of got a drainy eye at the moment, but that isn't an unheard of issue for him. And Echoes episode 1 is ready for me to finalize the script, which is, so the first draft, I mean, you can't even call it the first draft. I would just say that this is episode 1, like 2.0. Because I really gave it a big coat of paint. But you know, I guess this would be third draft of the first episode, and it's big. Now that my brain is working with me a little better, I'm a lot less intimidated about doing bigger projects, especially when they're not like, oh my god, we need to get this out because the second episode's already out, so we need to get the next one out. So like, yeah, this one's probably gonna be like a damn near 30-minute. And yes, this is Echoes of Everlast, not Echo the robot.
Yep.
I have a plan for him, but that's a whole other thing. It's not an accident that the theme of the word echo is similar, though. So yeah, it's ready for me to go through and add my audio cues. So basically, I make notes for Thu, I make notes for Jackie, I come up with the shot list, and yeah. So, and that part, it's not quite as fun, just because it requires my brain to work harder in a different way. Writing, I tend to just sit down and it starts happening, whereas like, okay, how do I describe what I'm seeing in my head to Jackie in a way that she can use it? Which thankfully over time I've gotten fairly decent at doing that. But you know, it still requires effort. Let's see. Let's see. Pickled Possum asks, is there a time period that we will meet the new boy? As in, will we meet him within a month or in a year? I don't know which new boy you mean.
Which one?
A lot of the new characters you would meet are in Echoes of Everlast, although they may not all be in episode 1.
They're all very tasty, though.
Yes. What else we got? Machadoodles asks, do the original characters have canon surnames? Nope. It's hard enough to come up with one name. Now, that might actually change. The same way that I decided to give them all heights. Maybe it'll change one day. Just because, like, there's a whole lot of scenarios where you're not calling someone by their first name. Or a nickname, etc. So, like, maybe one day. I'm not looking forward to it because everyone's gonna have an opinion. Just the same way, like, some people don't like that Finn's full name is Phineas. Which, to be fair, I thought we were all old enough not to make fucking Phineas and Ferb jokes, but
Oh God, that's the last place my mind would have gone to.
Me too, because I don't go there. I never went there. I would think more people would think of Billie Eilish's brother.
Oh, that's funny.
But you know. Um let's see. Casper asks, I'm curious, how exactly did Boo/Sugar react to being called Jolene? I gotta know. I mean, I would assume with annoyance. That's my assumption. But also, realistically, there's a lot of people who would not get the reference, and they're like, you know. So, I assume that, I think a lot of people got educated, actually. There were a lot of folks who were like, why did he call them Jolene? And there's a lot of Dolly Parton references going on. Let's see. The Lilith VA asks, have you ever thought of doing a fantasy AU with the boys? Keep up the amazing work, guys. Love ya. Well, with Echoes of Everlast coming out, it is, I mean, it's there. Now, there's a reason why we wouldn't see some characters there. I would say there's a reason we wouldn't see most characters there. In present time, at least, we would see other things going on. It's a little complicated. It'll make sense eventually. With the creation of Everlast, doing just a one-off fantasy AU becomes a little more complicated because people are gonna think it would never say never. Never say never. Because, like, you could be like, hey, this is just a thing. I don't know. But I'm excited to be playing in a fantasy setting. Like, I'm excited to be writing a fantasy setting. I'm excited to have content that is based with fantasy aspects. Today, I thought of a really cool way. Well, I don't think I can say anything. I thought of a really cool use of magic, because a lot of people were asking, like, hey, is Finn gonna be doing magic stuff, like doing his job, etc. In episode 1, that is less of a thing, because it's a lot more about, like, establishing some characters. There is magical shit going on, but he's not, like, casting fireball. That would be a hell of a way to start episode 1, though.
Eldritch Blast. Immediately.
But yeah. I thought of some really cool ways for some shit to happen on screen. So that's cool.
He also thought of ways to hurt me, by the way.
Yes, there was a question from Purple, and I'm guessing Eden's gonna be here too, I'm sure. About the horse details, which for those who might have missed it on Twitter, I mentioned that I made Jackie and myself cry on her birthday because of a horse that doesn't exist yet.
Eden has been summoned.
Yeah. How did I introduce you to that idea, Jackie?
God, I don't even remember. I was so emotionally distraught.
You're like, yeah, I'm like, I think you were like having breakfast with your mom or something. And I was like,
I was, yeah.
Hey, did you ever consider insert redacted things here?
And then you just kept going.
And
I was like, no, stop, no, stop, no, stop. It's my birthday.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not listening.
Yeah. So there was a lot of horse stuff going on
multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, they're, fantasy setting, right? So like travel by horse, and which I'm not mistaken in thinking that you're much more excited about people traveling by horses than by cars, or motorcycles.
I said this to you. I should have made my dear girl a horse. But you know what? The fact that they have the same type of joint look, but I've drawn enough My Little Ponies and Spirit fan art in my childhood that this ain't. I've not drawn cars. I've not drawn cars in my childhood, but somehow I got there. This time I'm equipped. I'm equipped with knowledge.
Yep.
Shout out to my horse scroll era.
Z asks the both of us, are we Art Tashi or Pat Tashi, or others, referencing challengers?
Oh boy. Oh boy. You want to answer first?
I'm big messy soup. Whatever the ship name is for that. Whatever the ship name is for that. And actually, I'm like, so, okay, I don't want to spoil it. So Challengers, tennis movie, very gay, that came out, for those of you who don't know. And it hit me different because Art and Patrick's relationship was really similar to me and an old friend of mine's. In ways that I have not seen depicted on screen before. It like knocked my socks off. And I'm big Patrick is gayer than his also kind of gay best friend. So you've got the like, I'm really into this and my buddy is only kind of into this situation. So my reading of it is probably a little different than a lot of other people's, because they might not have read it the way that I read it, just because of, you know, art's different for everybody. The not the person. So I'm a big make them all a big soupy mess. But I'm also Tashi go to therapy. I ship Tashi in therapy. So how did you feel, Jackie?
Oh, I was sweating the whole time during the movie. It didn't stop. But I'm also on the team big angsty messy soup. Leaning a bit towards Art Tashi, just because, and it's entirely for personal reasons, Patrick looks scarily similar to someone like a fuck ass I dated in high school, and it makes me so uncomfortable. But like, not in a I don't like this movie way, in a like, I not only did you succeed in making me uncomfortable, which was what they were trying to do, but it's even worse. But I also, it's so hard to choose, because I think everyone involved is kind of the worst in their own way. And I love that, which is why I love just like, I don't want this movie to have like a hero or like the good guy. I love a story about a bunch of just, they're going through it all at once and they're all affecting each other and making each other go through it. So I eat that up, because we don't see enough of that done well, and it was done really well in Challengers. But I will lean a bit closer to Art because of the whole Patrick thing, and also because when he's younger, he kind of gives me Charlie vibes, personally. He's got that little like, I mean this completely positively. He's got that little like rat style face.
He does. He is
Um,
very rat coded.
very rat coded. So that's where I'm big mess, leaning towards Art Tashi.
I love me a manipulated cuck. Him being like,
Oh boy.
him being
Same.
like, well, I can't really say a whole lot, but I just, the way he's such a weaselly little fuck is, Cootie is desperately trying to get to me.
He wants to answer.
So if y'all have heard him beeping. Anywho, challengers, if you enjoy Bittersweet and wanted to know what it would have been like if I went the really like toxic, traumatic route instead of like found family, we all love each other route, challengers is excellent. Cause
can I expose one of the things you suggested in that era, or do you want to keep that low key?
Did it involve throwing somebody in a trunk or something?
Yes.
Yeah. It was. I was gonna go all the way.
Like Seth was gonna be a really, really bad person.
He sure was.
And like I was kind of here for it. And like maybe one day there will be a little art of that.
That was so great. I had it outlined.
Let's see.
Anyone who's on team give me like toxic fucker kidnapping the listener type beat. Oh man.
And I'm getting this man back one way or another.
Yeah, where was he gonna find a vehicle that had a trunk?
You would steal it.
That's fair.
If it was that Seth, he would steal it.
Oh man. Yeah, that's fair.
But like really just like mansplain, manipulate Seth.
Oh.
I don't condone it in real life. Let me just say that.
Oh.
But fictionally, oh boy.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. That's all right. There will be time for some freak shit. What other Cootie? What is your deal? He's going to both legs, climbing me, begging.
I just want you to know that cat's all muscle too. So it's like you're fighting against a little,
like a strong little baby.
Yeah.
Like, you know, right when like a toddler becomes a child and it's like they don't realize their own strength type shit. I was playing with a kid once. It was my nephew. And we had like boxing gloves and we were like sock and box, I'm just like, wiggly arming at him and he's got gloves on trying to punch me. And he cracked me right in the nose. And like in that moment, I knew how my dad felt with me. Cause like I used to beat up on my dad a lot. Like
that's fair.
All right, what else do we got here? Remy Darling asked, do you have plans to expand on Oron's background story? Saw he had a flashback. It seems like there's a lot more to him. Would love to know. Rook and he is still my favorite story. Still my favorite story. Oh yeah, like there's a whole, I got a lot of ideas for how that will come about. But it's one of those things where like you don't just sit down and tell them. You don't be like, hey Rook, okay, so when I was a kid,
just so you know,
that's when I caught my first body, and here's how I didn't catch a charge, and here's how people reacted, and all, so like
that's a lot.
I still don't know exactly how we'll get there, and there's a lot of things that the audience will know before Rook knows. I think that's the big thing, is like it's not always going to be strictly like this is information that the listener character knows. It'll be information that we get to know, that sort of thing. And then there will be times where it becomes clear, like, oh, this is probably where they would talk about that. Ree asked, would we ever get an aftercare audio? There are, in the history of audios, they're there, or they're baked into the spice sometimes. But like, just straight up, what would be weird to me is just having a safe for work audio that is aftercare. I mean, I can see it being done and seeing it being fine, but like, aftercare is such a, how do you paint with a broad brush, that sort of thing, because everybody's kind of different. Like,
it's so personal.
Yeah, I mean, I know what I would come up with would be about right. Mini Thanos, if you look at pinned comment in the chat or in the description, you'll find the link. Let's see what else we got. Many Names asks, when did you start drawing?
I don't know, like when I was very, very young, I used to watch, I think it was Generation 2 My Little Pony movies. I would put them on this big screen TV we had in the basement. And I'm not talking like big screen, like super expensive. Like, it was just a big fuck you TV. And I would, I was a child, I don't know what age, but I would play the movies and I would pause them. And my mom had purchased this giant drawing paper for me. So the size of like almost half of what I was. And I would tape it to the screen of the TV. And I would trace the pony onto the paper. And I would teach myself how to draw them that way, because I would trace it and then I'd try to do it myself. So very, very young, amateurly, trying to make it like a profession. Probably at like, God, like 14, 15. I don't know if that's the exact age, but I got really into Assassin's Creed 3 and I wanted to draw Connor. So that's when I was like, I'm buying a sketchbook and I'm going to ask for a tablet for my birthday and I'm making this a thing. But before all that, it was just like my Sonic OC over and over again, and My Little Pony. So very young is when I started.
Let's see what else we got. Alex W asks, Jackie, as always, I know you appreciate getting to draw your wife Oron all the time, but do you have a favorite illustration that you did for the morning after birthday audio?
Oh man. Trying to think of all of them. Probably it's between the morning shot, like as he's sleeping. I just really like him being all like snuggled into the pillow. And the shot where he's like speaking to the listener and kind of is like has his elbows on the table and he has a really, really soft expression on his face. I was drawing that and sweating. I loved drawing that very much. But yeah, I also loved drawing the one with my little deer, but I feel like that's a bit of a selfish answer.
Kiyokore says, happiest of birthdays, Jackie. You're such an amazing and talented human/deer witch, and I send you lots of love. Make sure to get a yummy, tasty snack today.
Yeah.
A few people asked if there will be more of the Lost and Found series. Also, lots of love for Charlie and the little raccoon. Yeah, there will be more. Charlie is tied to everything. I don't feel like this is much of a spoiler, but being involved in the level of crime that you're involved in when you're Charlie. And knowing the people you know,
when you're Charlie,
it's very hard to get away.
Right.
And his issue is he cares.
Too much sometimes.
And Oron's issue is he cares. So I feel like inevitably that has to bear some sort of fruit. How and when, I don't know, but there are seeds planted all over recent Lost and Found stuff. There's the alleyway where he finds the little guy. There's Casper knowing what an NDA is. There's a lot going on there. So there's a lot of story, not even necessarily tied to everything else. There's just, they've got a little guy, so we got to go through little guy stuff. We got to do a lot of other stuff. So yeah, no, you don't create that much intrigue and then not do anything with it, is my big thing. It's like, you know, when people are like, oh my God, Charlie's cute, we want Charlie. It's like, oh, I created demand, I created interest.
Right.
I should probably do something with that.
People love him.
So yeah. What else do we got? Galaxy Mushroom asks Jackie, what's the inspiration for your art style? And you have such a wide range of styles, so maybe like, what are some of your biggest inspirations?
I think the first thing I need to mention is that my original career path was going to be as a storyboard artist. So I kind of, as my art evolved and in studying it in college, a big part of my study was being able to master different styles, because a lot of times when you're a storyboard artist, you draw from like kids cartoons that are really simple puppetry down to like, think Castlevania, which is very, very detailed character design. So I have a basic, not a basic style. I have my style, like my I can't think of the word, like the style that I'm most comfortable in, but I can do a lot of other styles. If I were to say what inspired that signature style, that's the word. I want to say like the first thing that comes to mind, which I don't know if is 100% correct, is like Ben 10, but the the series where they're a bit older, where like Kevin Levin has a metal arm, because
Shippuden.
Stop. I loved Kevin Levin, by the way, just so you guys know.
I'm sure everyone's really surprised.
Probably also Avatar was a big inspiration. I think you see that a lot in the way that I draw like eyes and stuff. What else? I'm sure there's like video games in there too. Like, Dragon Age, like concept art, not necessarily, of course, not the rendered video game style, but the concept art. I have like Dragon Age concept art books that I would pore over and I would study, and a lot of their like cell shaded stuff. That was a big inspiration for me. Right now, a lot of my inspiration is not really like style wise, but like character design wise is like Hades. I don't know. I'd think very like Castlevania type style, but maybe a little bit more stylized. When I first started, I took a lot of inspiration from like Disney concept art, but like real beginner concept art, like not the stuff that you see later on in the process of making the movies, where it's very like round eyes, round face, round whatever. Like think maybe I can't think of his name besides his like actual name from Tangled. Eugene. What the fuck is his name? Um but he has this incredible expression sheet that I would constantly reference when I was first starting, even with like YuuriVoice stuff. But yeah, it's a big mix of like a lot of styles that are both leaning towards realistic without losing a lot of the fun stuff that stylized stuff brings to the table. But yeah, it goes between a bunch of stuff. But I think that's pretty solid. It's kind of all over the place, but if you break down my answer, you'll find the gold. Flynn, that's his name. Fucking Eugene.
We've also got Jackie, do you listen to Good Kid? Their music makes me happy. This is from Lustful Loser. You would remember. I had a Good Kid kick. You'd remember a few of their songs, but I can't remember.
I can't give you the names of the songs, but I have listened to them before and I do like them. I'm not like a huge fan or anything.
They're all over Charlie's playlist.
Yeah.
What model is the car that Alphonse drives in Bittersweet? Just curious. It looks like Dean's car from Supernatural. That's because it's like the sister model of that car. It's a 67 Chevelle. I've forgotten. That's a horrible thing to forget.
I don't remember either. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay. Yeah. It's a something. It's one of my. It's a favorite of mine. But yes, it is also. It's basically the same car. There's a difference, but it's not big enough that anyone would give a shit. Yeah, it's 69 Chevelle. It wasn't 69? That's fair. That makes sense. Did Yandere Finn off anyone directly? How would he do it? Asked by Brain Mattered. I mean, in the context of some of the one-shots and stuff, yes, I believe. Let's see what else we got. Look, this username is a trans weirdo. I'm not calling them that. Asks, would either of you mind if someone were to make fandom wikis for the boys, or is that something I should hold off on? It's something we've looked at doing before. It's just a big pain in the ass. And then I would not, just because
there's a chance.
Yeah. Like that could happen one day. But also, like, I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do. Yeah. But yeah, we've talked about it a bunch. It's just a lot. Let's see. Dark Rose says, or asks, was Alphonse your first character, if you don't mind me asking? He was the first original character I made for content purposes, yes. But being a nerd, I have had original characters for ever. No. I'm trying to think, like, in my life, who was the first?
Was it one of those from that one series, like big series you had in your head?
Those were the closest, and their name, I can't even remember people's names anymore. That's so sad. No, I think I played D&D with my dad and made a guy named Slayer, which is the most
yes.
like, this is a 6-year-old boy who has made
Not Slayer.
a warrior character. Let's see. Azra asks what I think now is the most frequently asked question that I don't have an FAQ like listed on any FAQ anywhere or anything. Who's your favorite character that you either relate to the most or like voicing the most? I wouldn't say I like voicing anyone the most. It's a matter of ease. So like if I want a really easy day at work, like Alphonse I can do immediately and not even I don't even got to think twice about it. We can just do it right off the rip. Now if you ask me to do any other voice, I can't just do it.
Sometimes he appears out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, I can't. There's a reason why it's so easy. Yeah. And as to relating to the most, like it varies. The most, like I would say the one I'm most emotionally attached to is it's between Seth and Alphonse, just because like everything is so personal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. What else do we got? Sweet Kaida asks, I remember one time you mentioned you wanted to make a Sleepy Boy character. Is that something you would like to do in the future? Yeah, so that was supposed to be Charlie.
Oh, it was.
But then like things kind of took a whole path of their own.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of upcoming characters don't really fit the bill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It'll always be one that I'm thinking of. But right now there's a whole lot of other stuff going on. So I wouldn't say keep your eyes out for a droopy-eyed, tired-voiced fella. Not anytime soon, at least. But also, who knows? I don't trust myself. I could be like, there's this thing, we really got to do it. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Here's a great Jackie question from Scarlet Torchic. They say, happy birthday. I adore the outfits that you show off and was curious how you developed your style. Thank you and have an awesome rest of the day.
Thank you. I guess I tried a lot of different things growing up. I had some very embarrassing outfits. If this is, I'm assuming you mean like style as in what I wear. I always, when I was younger, gravitated towards like gothic, witchy, anything that falls under alternative, but leaning more into like vampire or like fairy vibes. But I never really got to wear any of that because, I grew up in an environment where it wasn't really entirely supported. I mean, it could have been, but it was just all over the place. So in my youth, I had what was available to me in terms of the clothes that was purchased for me or something I would like. And I tried to do outfits. Oh, okay. You know what? I just had a memory come back to me. I used to love going on DeviantArt and seeing people's OCs, and I would inspire my outfits based on their, like, how they would dress their OCs. Which is which is a little embarrassing. But also I remember like going shopping for like really interesting skirts or like really out there like tank tops with sequins all over them. And I'm talking about I was really young. Um but when I started to grow up, I felt a lot of insecurity, and I would wear a lot of black to hide that. I feel like that's a very common thing. Um and then I kind of really fell in love with searching for outfits that still showed who I was personally, but kind of fell more into that like black outfit that was more like not as showy, which isn't great, but it helped at the time. And then I only really started stepping into my style in like college, I want to say. Because I finally stopped caring about what was trendy. Not that I really ever did, but you know, sometimes in high school you get pushed into this like, this is what you have to wear and this is how you have to look. And especially in like a big city like Toronto, it's like there were really defined styles. And if you didn't fall into that, it said a lot about your character, which it shouldn't have. But it was in college where, because I was starting to find myself artistically, I was like, oh, I don't care what people think I look like or what they think I should wear. And then I went to, it might have been earlier than that. I went to Salem, and I really fell in love with these older women, like older witchy women who ran these like witchy shops, like the cult shops. And they were these really like beautiful, like jewel tone, really like the fabrics were really patterned, and like it was velvet, and it was this very, what we call now whimsy gothic. And I fell in love with that. I was like, that's it. That's the one. And then I just started like drawing myself in all these outfits that I really liked. And when I started making my own money, I started to try to find, like, if I saw an outfit that someone was wearing on Pinterest or whatever, I'd try to hunt it down. And when I did that, I'd find all these really cool gothic sites. And it really took until recently for me to be like, you know what? How about you just dress the way that you've always wanted to dress and not care what other people think? Like, who cares? Who cares if people think what you should wear today should look a certain way? If you want to dress like a vampire going out to get her groceries, you can do that. If somebody wants to call you cringe, I don't give a fuck. So a lot of my style was developed by older people, by like consuming art by other people. It always somehow comes back to art. And like just not caring, finding things or finding pictures. A lot of times it's on Pinterest or Instagram of people dressed in a way that, like, when I look at them, it makes me happy. And then from there, just finding different places. I try to make sure I'm shopping from a lot of like alternative shops that are sustainable. And I know that's not always available for different people, whether it's because of money, whether it's because some places don't cater to different sizes, but they should. You know, but the great thing about that is that a lot of alternative people have a lot of great references. So, you know, if you really want to fall into that, or if you want to fall into a specific style that isn't the mainstream, follow people who dress like that, or follow someone who draws characters that dress like that. Because the more you see other people dressing the way you want to dress, and the less you see other people telling you how you should be dressing, you'll be able to develop your style. because you find what works for you and then you can go out and look for it. Or you find what works for you and the people who are wearing it tell you where you can find it. And like, I will always suggest going to a thrift shop and just picking out things that like might seem a little scary at first, but then, you know, just try it. Just try it. It might seem scary. Like I have this whole outfit that I wore to see Hosier. And it was like, the first time I put it on, I'm like, oh my God, this is a lot. Like I have these like tendrils coming out of my shirt and my legs. And then I was like, okay, but I also look like the people that I love to follow before. So I think the most important thing in developing your style and how I developed my style is making sure I'm surrounding myself, and not like physically, just online or like in what I consume, with that style, so that, you know, I'm not surrounded by people saying you need to be wearing, I don't know, like whatever it is that's trending right now, you know, like don't do that. Just develop your own style. I promise you it will make you feel so much better when you do, and then it will lead you to shopping better and smarter. So I could talk about fashion forever. But yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Let's see what else we got going on. Let's see. Sunlight asks, for Jackie, who was your favorite boy to design? And if anything you're working on now expands that might be fun, you can vaguely.
Right. This is always I want to say my favorite to design. I'm like trying to go back and think about specifically when I was designing them and not just how they look. I want to say Faust, because he was so different. And even now when I'm like redrawing him and stuff like that, or if I draw him for a new thing, or like, you know, if he's in an episode of something, I really like his design. I think he's really fun. I think because he's very similar to my style too, going back to that question, is I just really enjoy drawing him. But also, gonna be vague, there is a new character that I've been working on. There is a couple of new characters that I've been working on. I all love them. But there are two specific ones who, style-wise and looks-wise, could not be farther from each other. But I think that's why I like them so much. Like, it's stuff you... how can I say this? Characters you haven't quite seen like that before on the YV channel. And I just had so much fun with their like concept sketch. And specifically like their outfits. But besides them, and they will eventually, when they are revealed in time, I'll let you know who's who. But besides them, I think my favorite characters to draw or to design were Faust, for sure, and probably Seth, just because of what he, like, that whole process, because he was, I think, the first, besides Howl, the first like YV boy.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I think
Seth's my favorite too, just because like the process was so fun. And like I had a real vision for him. Like a lot of the times I can give Jackie vibes and she gets it, but like I had some stuff for her to work off of. And Seth's low-key like inspired by this picture of my dad from when he was young. But not enough so that it's like, ooh,
Right. Yeah,
that's my dad. No, it's not like that. But like kind of I don't know. There's a vibe that just kind of is shared. Yeah. And then they also asked for me, what's my favorite genre to write for? Well, so much of what I do is romance, I guess. Romance drama. I'm excited to take a real crack at something that goes beyond that, though. So like with Echoes, you know, it's fantasy. It is a high fantasy story that also has urban fantasy tie-ins, because like, you know, it and Bittersweet and all that's connected. But I was answering this on Tumblr. Someone was asking me like, what's one of the things I'm like most excited about, and with Echoes, and I think it's just right now with Finn, the focus outside of his regular content. So like Finn, as it relates to the big narrative plot, the focus is like, how does Finn affect Bittersweet? I want to shift that focus to how does Finn impact his whole world that we're not. I want to point him inwards rather than outwards. Because I think it opens up a whole bunch of doors. It creates a ton of fun threads. There's a whole world that's going on that he is in, and him being there is more interesting than him being in Bittersweet. That's the easiest way to put it. It's intriguing that he can fuck with stuff, but what's going on over there is a whole world, a whole everything with people and shit going on, and giving him motivations. That's the big thing, is like no one understands his motivations right now. So he's not even really a character right now. Like, he was a cameo and people are confused, and that's how it's been for like 2 years. So I'm excited to establish stuff and to give it direction. And it's creating so many other characters and other people who have motivations and their own conflicts, their own things that they want to see happen. Stories need stakes, regardless of what genre. There has to be something at stake, whether it is whether it's a relationship, whether it is you're a fucking criminal, whether all that. So establishing like what are the stakes for him is really important. I'm hungry now.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Let's see. A. James asks, where did Finn's love for flowers come from? So folks know the story that he was created to fill a role for a script, which was him being a florist and talk floral. But the question of like, why does he like flowers and plants and nature and such? Well, why? Like, beyond that, why? And I have an answer, and I can't tell you that answer. But he has a green thumb, and it would have come from somewhere. So that's all I can say. Teachy Lizzie asks, will any of the listeners meet each other in any future videos? You know, like if Cass and Sugar Boo meet each other. This is also a thing that I answered on Tumblr at one point. It's never impossible and a never say never situation, but it has to make sense and it has to be positioned in a way that is digestible, because it's hard enough to involve one non-speaking character. If you put two non-speaking characters in there, it becomes a shit show and it becomes incredibly hard to navigate. Mm-hmm. So it's doable, but like a lot of it would have to be implied. Like they're meeting the actual, like they're sitting down and getting to meet each other. That's really hard to show on screen, but it's not difficult to create a scenario where they would have met. And then it's like, there's ways, but I don't think it's very interesting. It's something I've considered and something that could happen sooner rather than later. I just don't know. Let's see what else we got. This is a great question. So Alex W, by the way, hold on, let me scroll back up. Alex W sent in $5 super chat. Sorry, I think Jackie was big answer about fashion, and I was like, I'll answer that, and then it by the time we were done with that question, it had gone off screen. Said, I recently remember my first self-insert OC was from the 2000-ish Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon when I was about 5. So I feel you on the I've always had OCs thing. Yeah, that's usually how it works.
I love a self-insert. There's too much shame on self-inserts.
But Alex also asked, I feel like you've mentioned that Shattered will have an aspect of psychological horror, and I'm just wondering how much of that you're intending to lean into, because some of us are sensitive losers, but also suckers for Auron and won't be able to resist. Like, is it mostly just parts of a different world are starting to break through into Auron's world, or is there more to it? There's more to it. There's more to it. I don't know yet. The first answer is I don't know. I do know that it kicks off pretty intense. Not so much so that, like, I don't think it's unbearable, and there's only so much, like, I would be comfortable putting on YouTube anyways. Like, we hammered Derek to a desk,
right,
and we just kind of made it really hard to see, and that's pretty intense. So, you know,
here's a good I don't know. I'm very, very sensitive to that stuff. So if I'm drawing it, you'll probably be okay.
That's fair.
But yeah.
And there won't be a bunch of, like, jump scares. Like, if you could handle his sudden flashback in the most recent thing where he opens the thing and there's a gun and there's a creepy stinger sound effect. Like, if you were able to if it was like, but, like, you were okay, it's never going to be, like, you're getting jump scared. It's getting, like, way too fucky. I don't think it'll ever be like that.
And there'll be warnings too if it ever does get.
There will be tension.
Right.
There's gonna be a lot of tension. There will be situations that have you like, what the fuck? So yeah, I think it'll be fine. There's a lot that I don't know yet. I'm 2 episodes deep, and I have a fairly decent idea where we're going, but, you know, we'll see. I've been in a very lean into it more, because I don't want to play it too safe either. The raccoon does not have a birthday.
Oh,
Birthdays are hard.
they are.
He's young though, or I have not gendered the raccoon officially. I don't know yet. What else do we got going on? Here's a good question. From Azra asking, Jackie, I'm not sure if you've ever been asked this before, but how long does it normally take you to do artwork? By the way, happy birthday.
Thank you. I'd say I'm a fast artist. In terms of like if I sat down from start to finish, I can get like one shot. Like, let's say the shot from the most recent episode with Oron of him. I don't want to spoil it just in case somebody hasn't seen it. Of younger him in a room. If I sat down from like start to finish like sketch to final product, it would take me like a day. Probably less than that. But yeah, I'm pretty quick when it comes to art. The only time I'd see myself being a lot slower from start to finish is like if it was an animation or something. But like, let's say we're working on an episode for, here's a good example. The last, I don't know if it's considered a bittersweet episode. The episode with like Seth and the attic.
Yeah, it is.
That took, I think, like 10 days to fit, maybe less than that, maybe a week. I don't remember, of like really sitting there and hammering them out. So, and that's between like, it took 10 days because I was traveling. I was hanging out with like YV and friends. So I was also busy, but like usually I can hammer out like 2 shots in a day. Not start to finish. Like if I have a sketch of one, I can finish them from sketch to finish. 2 of them a day if I really like sat down and did my shit. So, yeah.
Blue Phoenix asked if Seth, Alphonse, and Charlie were self-made characters or are they from some fandom? And if the Lost and Found series would continue. So they're mine. They're YuuriVoice originals. It is it's my baby. So thank you for loving my babies. And yes, there will be more Lost and Found. Now, whether or not the next time you run into them is specifically Lost and Found, that's where it starts to get a little complicated. That's the issue with all these shared, intertwined plot lines. Last call for Jackie questions because she's gonna have to go soon.
Yeah. I wish I could stay for more time, but I'm gonna go get some cake with my family.
Cake. I want cake too. Okay.
I'd send you some.
The shy listener asks, were there any small details for any of the boys that were scrapped at conception? Like tattoos, traits, etc. The one that always comes to mind for me was that what basically was Derek's hair was one of the ones pitched for Seth.
Yeah. Oh my god, he was so slimy.
Yeah, that was like I specifically told you, hold on to that. I know who that can be.
You were like, he's slimy, but he's a little too slimy, but I know who that's for.
Yeah. What do you got?
Finn was supposed to have, there was a version of him with lilac hair.
There sure was. He's gonna be a purple-haired boy.
And he stayed it was lilac and then like Oron colored hair. And it stayed like that for a while until we're like, how about a blonde?
Yep.
the lilac was really pretty.
Yeah. What else? There's a couple of Jackie specific ones.
I can go a little over if there's.
Who was your favorite pony from My Little Pony while growing up?
Minty. I loved her. Minty and Pinkie Pie. And I watched like the most recent series. So Minty, Pinkie Pie, and Rainbow Dash. And at the time, like in that series, Rainbow Dash was like the way that Rarity is in the most recent series. Like loved fashion, called everyone darling, loved her. But Minty was my favorite because she was just this weird girl who liked socks a lot. Oh, and God, I'm forgetting their name. But they had their own movie, and it was a Pegasus that was all white and had white, pink, and blue hair, and a land pony that was purple, and they were confirmed a queer relationship by Hasbro, and they mean the world to me, but I'm forgetting their names now, so there you
go. Here we go. Serotonin asks, if I remember correctly, you have a love of Transformers, specifically IDW. Same. I was wondering if that love ever bled into your art. Have you ever done any Transformers fan art before, or practiced robots and mechs in general?
Yeah, I have a sketchbook filled with art inspired by the main artist for the IDW comics, for specifically More Than Meets the Eye, and The Lost Light, Alex Milne. I used to try to mimic his style in my sketchbooks. Yeah, one of my earliest OCs, his name was Gunner, was inspired by not IDW, by a character in Transformers Prime, Smokescreen, and he kind of bled into my D&D character Blake. But yeah, I think like the hollow form, like the human form of the Transformers in the IDW books kind of bled into my style. Again, it's that like stylized but leaning more into realistic. And yeah, I'm sure if I like went into my OCs or my characters, or even like characters that I've designed for YuuriVoice, you'd find like so much Transformers inspiration, because it was a huge part of me growing up. Like I have almost every single More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light volume signed by James Roberts, which is the author. I've met him multiple times. So like, I would not doubt that there are a lot of inspirations in my designs, or like even reflected on my favorite characters in the YV verse. Like, I'm sure it's all over there. If you went and looked for it and you're like, hey, girl, is this connected to this character? I'd probably say yeah. But yeah, no, I could go on about Transformers as well. I love them.
Hopeful Goddess asked, Jackie, what's your favorite little detail you've managed to sneak into the art Yuri has used?
Oh, this is funny. There was, God, I don't know what art it is now. I have to go find it. And I'm not 100% like sure. That's a good example of my memory. I'm not 100% sure what it was. I think it was a photo of our free company from Final Fantasy 14 that I had put into the background of, I think it was a Finn art or something. I did that a while ago. Yeah, I loved that. And then of course my little deer girl. But there was a really sweet one that's a bit more personal, but it's also Seth's blanket in the shot where he falls asleep on Boo and Al's couch, is a blanket that I own, and it's got a lot of like personal detail and like story behind it. And I was very emotional during the time that was drawn, and that whole shot means a lot to me. So that's another big one. So those three.
Last one for Jackie before she's got to run. Which one is your favorite to draw?
Faust and Oron. the brothers. In terms of boys, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Faust, Oron, and Jack. I really like his hair, and I'm sorry to the fan artists that now have to figure out how that works, because I'm not even 100% sure how it works, but I really like the shape of it. And I'm sure that like he's gonna shoot up on my list the more art I make for him. So, but other than that, I really like Faust because I love drawing like feminine characters that have a very distinct style. And Oron is my wife, and he'd get mad at me if I said if I didn't include it. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Jackie's got to go have cake.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. I wish I could stay for longer. I'd love to do another like hangout stream and answer more questions sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, go have a good cake.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, now we have to banish Jackie to the Shadow Realm. And then I need me to come over here-ish. All right. We won't hang out much longer because my mouth is really dry. I got a few more questions to answer. The way you just, she's still here. She's still here. But is she though? Yeah. I figured that would be fun. It's been a while since we got to get Jackie on stream. Yeah, the cats are gonna start pestering me soon. All right. Well, oh shit. Okay. Will we ever get more fun audios with the Bittersweet Trio outside of lore and narrative? No rushing, just curiosity. Yeah. It's hard to say. But once we get through this next chapter of Bittersweet, we will probably be in a good place to just have one-shots for a while, and then we can just do fun shit. Whether it's with the trio, with, you know, one or the other, that sort of thing. So, Matcha Doodles asked, what's Oran's job? CEO of what specifically? I really want to know. Thank you. So this also got answered on Patreon recently. So it is complicated. It is a entertainment group that manages talent, but also has stakes in various entertainment sports entities based off of real life company Endeavor. I happen to have a knowledge of these things. And before they even became more prominent, I had planned on using them as the framework. So like, there is, I would say, a big portion of the business is agents managing stars. So whether we're talking actors, sports, you name it, that sort of thing. That's kind of the big thing. But there's other branches going on. And we haven't had a good excuse to like get into the meat of that. There's only the vague references early on. But that's what it is. So we know what it is. There just hasn't been a great way to just be like, let's talk business. Rayan asks, what do you think the MBTI personality types of your characters are? I always forget what what those even are and what their archetypes are and everything. I always screw it up. Um, let's see what else we got. Not so creative name says, out of curiosity, since there's a lot of Finn variations, which Finn variation is your favorite to write, and which Finn variation are you excited the most about? I'm really, really, really excited about Everlast Finn. He is a very interesting character, and I'm learning more about him, and it's a lot of fun. And I just think, so I don't even think this is necessarily a spoiler. The variations of Finn are aspects of this character. They are specific, like, parts. And he is a whole character, so he's a bit more complex. He has a lot more going on. He has internal conflicts. He has a lot of things going on. And it just gives me a lot to work with. So I'm really excited for that and his story, because it's spicy. It's very spicy. Let's see. Someone wanted to know if they could tag Jackie in birthday art. I will ask her real quick. People want to know if they can tag you in birthday art. What else do we got here? This is a great question. So Kushina Uzumaki says, with your first post on Patreon with Alphonse, you said that you weren't going to merge stories. What made you change your mind, or was it your intention the entire time? Changed my mind. And that's why I tell people, like, never say never. Also, Jackie says you absolutely can tag her in birthday art, if you have any for her. Yeah, I wasn't looking to make things complicated, which you can see where Mochi, hey, I see what you're thinking about doing, and I don't want you to do it. He, like, will threaten to climb the wall, and he's getting big. Like, he had a chunky phase, he had a skinny phase. Now he's, like, fit, like he's been in the gym. And we don't got to do all that, Mochi. I don't want you to... Mochi, hey. No. Hey. No. Don't do that. Hey. You will go too high up. Go on. Come on. Come on. Get down. You have no rights. Oh, man. Yeah, okay. So back to... First, Alphonse post said I wasn't going to, like, merge stories or anything. Basically, like, you can see how I really wanted just to kind of do this, like, loose storyline with him and Boo, and it's kind of a narrative, but it's very, like, you can either enjoy things as one-shots or follow this loose plot, which I still love. And then Bittersweet happened. So the creation of Seth really inspired me to, rather than have a character that I spin off into his own thing, to do kind of the same way I was already doing with Alphonse. You know, it's like, well, let's do something. Let's see. So yeah, I became more ambitious, and, you know, then with everything else, It just sort of happened. So, you know, that thoughts and ideas change. So I always try to make that clear. You can't growl at him. You're the one that went behind the curtain. Oh man, these cats. Bok. Can we discuss Boxer, Seth? Yeah, we can. Boxer Seth is spicy. I'm excited. I'm just saying Seth's the type of guy who would have a punching bag for fun, is all I'm saying. So he might just, you know, be getting a sweat in at some point, you know, might have a come across him while he's dripping, wearing the hand wraps and the shorts and stuff. And Bastioff, I wouldn't say that Finn is something different. It's like, imagine yourself. Like, let's say you wanted to isolate a certain part of you. So we can use garden variety Finn as an example. Garden variety Finn is soft and very timid, and he doesn't have a it's hard to explain. He's very much one-dimensional in that kind of way. And then you have Bunny Finn that is really just a silly little bunny that is kind of lewd and doing a bunny thing. So it's like, when I think of myself, it's kind of the way that I explained how Seth and Alphonse are almost like, they're both me, but they're two parts of me. Alphonse is my jokey, playful, flirty, smartass, can be scary, can be angry, has dead parent issues. That's a very specific part of me. And then you have Seth, who is the one who loves to be on the road, loves being out in the woods, has this love for like cryptids and supernatural stuff, and also has experienced, like, you know, people treating him differently because he was gay in a small town, but he presents very masculine, and you would think, oh, well, he's just a country boy, but he's a lot more than that. So like, those are both me, you know? They're both two parts of me. And in that same way, Finn could be like, well, this is a part of me, and it's me, but I am several parts of me put together. That's the best way I can explain it. And I had never actually thought to use that parallel before. That it's important to note that, like, yeah, that these things, and that's kind of how, I don't know. There's not a whole lot else I can really say. But so no, I would not say that Everlast Finn is different. He's just more complex. Blogger asks, why was Seth gay in the first place? You can't just... Do you mean like as a character? Like, how did I come to that conclusion to make him have history with Alphonse? In that case, I just loved making that a part of their history. It made a lot of sense to me. Although, for clarity's sake, every character is pansexual because we have ambiguous listeners and it just makes sense. And I'm pansexual, so it just works. It just works. Dough Bunny asks, will you continue Twitch streams or are you sticking with YouTube for the time being? Good question. Sometime soon we're going to try out a multi-stream to see how that goes. And if it goes well, then maybe we'll be doing Twitch, YouTube, that sort of thing. But I like having everything on YouTube now. It used to be like, oh, you need to have separate channels for stuff. You need to have a clips channel. You need to have like a streaming channel. Now YouTube's made it more a little more. It works better if it's your hub for everything. So. Let's see. Let's do a last call for questions. We're almost wrapped up and I'm dropping water bottles. Let's see. Peaches and Pumpkins asks, will we ever know the reason as to why Faust got a new listener when we get to Faust's part of the story? I've been dying to know more since he stated he doesn't like coffee when his old listener used to be a barista. Yes. That will be touched on. That will be touched on. Let's see. Clown asked, do you have any favorite collabs you've done with other VAs? I mean, I have loved how much people have enjoyed Hip Switch for Bastards versus Zombies. That's cool. And I enjoy them all because it gets me out of my shell is the big one. For what I'm gonna be trying to cook up specifically with Echoes of Everlast, I'm excited because like it's gonna require a few different voices. So it will be my most ambitious collaboration here on this channel for sure. Casper asks, when did Seth stop hating Sugar/Boo? I don't think he ever hated them. I mean, I feel like that's pretty clear, on the first day is like, he struggles with like, I should be upset with you. I should dislike you, but you've made this person that I care about happy and better. Like, you've been a positive influence on someone I love. So like, I wouldn't say he ever hated them. That whole first interaction with them is like him putting up a front to see what they're made out of. But I don't think it was ever like, I hate you, Alice asks, how did you reach Guzma's accent? I just sort of I just wanted to make a punk, I guess. I just wanted to make a, I don't know, I was just fucking around. I wanted to, it was kind of comical. For those who know the deepest lore, the deepest lore is like, I did a Guzma Reacts to Sun and Moon trailer, and this is before YuuriVoice, before anything, and it was like one of the first times I ever tried to do a voice. And I just had fun with it. I was just fucking around, and I liked it. Like, it felt right. So I just fucked around and found out, I guess. Kiwi Seeds asks, can we get more story times? I enjoy hearing stories about your life. I feel like people really enjoyed the Amsterdam story from the last stream. I'll see. Once we get to the end of all the questions, maybe I'll cook up something. If you guys have questions that would get a story out of me, that would help, because like just trying to pick one, my brain will explode. What is one thing you can tell us about some of the new boys you've been cooking up in your head? Like one fun fact, and you don't even have to say which boy it is. I sure can. I can tell you a fun story about Thea the other day. There is a character that Jackie is designing that she's having a lot of fun with. And we were all hanging out together, and I was going to try and find a way to explain to Thea what this character was like. And I was like, oh, well, I had my thinking face on. Like, I was really going to try to dig deep. I was really going to try to dig deep. And then I go, oh, no. He's a knife pervert. And entire room loses it, because just because Thea says to be loved is to be known. Yeah. So that's a good fact about one of the new characters. He is a knife pervert. It is you can Google it. It's just a character who uses knives. Is the safest way to say it. Just a character who is very handy with a knife, and perhaps, yeah. Oh, let's see. Your local emo says, not trying to rush Bittersweet series, take your time. What if for the next season there will be a trip down seeing ex-boyfriend/girlfriends, like Seth seeing his ex or Boo seeing their ex? What would happen? Will they try to break the iconic trio up? I don't know how to tell you this, but that's what chapter 1 was. I also saw the version of this question earlier where you suggested like Seth has an ex that shows up or something. The thing is Alphonse is that ex. Like, they're the only two that they've ever known until Alphonse found Boo. They were childhood friends. They never dated a different person. They only knew each other, that sort of thing. So that doesn't really work either. So yeah, and I'm not gonna give Boo an X or like some big history or anything like that. There's I will be exploring creating some drama with listeners, but Boo feels almost sacred, if that makes sense. Because if you were around during chapter 1, people were so scared that Seth coming around was going to like fuck up the relationship with Boo, was gonna be like this huge like heartbreaking drama and stuff. And I said, hey, like, I'm not going to, because Boo and Alphonse are special, and now Boo, Alphonse, and Seth are special. And what I'm going to do is respect how people want to interpret things, and how I don't want, it's one of those things where I'm leaving it. You can take it how you want it, but I'm not going to be like, come in and give a whole thing where it's like, oh, Boo was in this really toxic situation with this person. And it's like, Boo as a concept has existed for many, many, many years for people now, and is really precious to people. And I feel like doing anything like giving them some like big family drama or relationship drama, etc., almost feels bad to me. I feel like that's misusing the trust people have placed in me. There you go. That's how you say it. But I think we're in a really comfortable place where it's like, do you like the trio? Awesome. That's great. If you just want it to be like a found family, they love each other story, awesome. You know, I think it's very special, and I want to respect the listeners in that way. I feel like it's more than half. I feel like it's more than half of the bittersweet fandom wants them to kiss. But, you know, that's what one shots are going to be for, all that. And like, it's clear that they all love each other very much, regardless of how you want to interpret that. Like, that's not really up for debate. So, yeah. Excuse me. Cheddar says, no names needed, of course, but I've always been curious, are there any listener designs that just really make you go feral? I don't know any of them well enough to identify. I try to not get too into that. Not only because, like, it's a very dangerous game where it's like, someone's gonna end up feeling validated or invalidated. And this is the type of thing that only really comes along with having been creating for such a personal kind of niche for so long. It's why, like, I don't always get super into, like, you know, sharing fan art and stuff, because you run the risk of like, well, he shared that, but he never shared mine. Is mine not good enough? So I realized, like, I'm better off staying out of it, which is a shame, but like, I don't know. And maybe it wouldn't even be that bad. That's the thing where, like, maybe it wouldn't even be that bad, but I've been through it. And I don't have the patience anymore. So, what is your least favorite question? Asks Banana Eater. Hmm. I mean, I do get tired of the like, do you have a favorite voice, favorite character? But it's not because it's a bad question, it's just because it comes up so much. And it's one of those things where like there's no good answer either. Like I'm never gonna have a great answer for that. Alex asks, with the compilations coming out, would you and the team ever consider putting out full compilations with the not safe for works built in to be available on the Patreon? I understand it's a lot of work and we'll be fine enough without, but it can be a pain. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where like, I don't know how I would manage to, because like those not safe for work ones are all technically in different tiers too. So like it would have to be a $20 thing, and that feels, I don't want to sell the convenience. That's a very like gaming industry thing, right? Like we created this problem, now we're going to sell you the solution. And that doesn't feel great. It's just one of those things where like, if I had the patience, like I could go through and like timestamp and link everything, but I think about trying to do that and my brain just starts to implode. Yeah, I know it's super imperfect. I wish there was a easier way. But it's a big pain in the ass. And the truth is the compilations are almost entirely for YouTube. They're all YouTube bait, basically. I would not say it is the best way to enjoy my content, but it is the best way to trick YouTube. Oh, I got something I can tell you guys about. Let me get through these. CC Styles asks, would we ever get to see emo era Oron? Pretty please, I want to see him in his teen angst. Yeah, there might be some flashback. There might be a flashback or two. Honey Apples asks, I was wondering if you listened to Hosier because I've seen an edit on TikTok of Oron with Too Sweet by Hosey. Yeah. I think I have seen that one actually. Here. And look, whoever made it, it's a good edit. Too Sweet for Oron, I understand it. But also, Too Sweet doesn't really work for any of the YuuriVoice boys. Like, you can isolate a line or two, and it would be, like, if you only had the chorus, I believe it is. I don't know music. If you isolate that, it's great. But it's one of those things like, I know what the whole song is, and it doesn't, that sort of thing. So, I appreciate everybody who makes edits, though. It is not do not take that as me shitting on that edit. It's more of I've had a bunch of people try to be like, do you think Too Sweet fits for this ship? And it's like, no, not really. I love the song though. Like, that is a groovy fucking song. One hell of an otaku asks, would you do your hair again and would you get more tattoos? I'm really happy with my long hair right now. I was thinking about doing like a ash gray with like, do the thing where if you flip your hair one way, you see another color and have it be like black or just natural. So basically like roots, but cool. But my hair's so healthy right now and I just don't want to, I don't want to fuck with it. And as for more tattoos, yes. Yeah, there will be, my other arm will be getting a sleeve, and I found the artist that I want to go to, and his style is perfect for a Hades tattoo. And it's gonna be great. I'm gonna do a half sleeve Hades tattoo. I like, you guys ever been through an era and you realize in retrospect, like, you were going through it so hard that you forgot a lot that happened? I mean, that's me with most of my childhood, but this is recent. Like, Hades 1 is recent. And I just forgot how much I loved it. And isn't that sad? That's so, like, wow, I forgot how much joy this brought me because I was so fucked up at the time. So that was a revelation. Yeah, so I think the base of the sleeve will be, outer arm will have Zagreus, inner arm will have Mel, and the filler and everything that ties it together will probably be the mementos, the little trinkets that you get from the gods and stuff. So some of my favorite gods, maybe Mel's frog, and using some of the spirits to fill in as well. Yeah, it's gonna be sick, and this artist is insane, so it's gonna be amazing. The problem is, I recently got like financial advisor, tax guy, investment guy. Like, this is my money guy. I needed it for a long time and just never pushed myself to go get it done. So I have a budget, and things have been very strict, and it's great because in about 6 months I will be able to really do a lot of great things. But blowing money on travel and tattoo is not really in the cards right now. I'd love to. If I film the vlog of me going to get it, it could be a business expense, but that's silly as well. So I've got to wait, unfortunately. I've really been itching. Here's how bad I want a new tattoo. I bought I bought the soap, the like unscented soap that you use, gold, whatever the fuck, the orange soap. I forget the brand. I bought it because I wanted the memory of having a tattoo. And I have so much. I have so much soap now. Gold Bond, thank you. Yes, Gold Bond. Dial. That's it. Where did I get Gold Bond? Dial soap. The orange dial. Yes. Why was I thinking Gold Bond? I don't know. Anywho, orange dial is the one. So yeah, washing my hands, I'm just like, man, wouldn't it be great if I had a tattoo right now? So, yeah. Eden asks, would Finn be a horse girl? Probably not. Probably not horse girl. Probably bad at riding a horse, actually. Probably bad at riding a horse, actually. Dusty, in response to trying to come up with questions that make me come up with stories, says, what is the most ridiculous, hilarious, extreme thing you've done while at a con? I don't keep it too... I'm such a baby that I wouldn't say I've done anything too extreme. Plenty of hilarious things. I'll never get over how cool it was to do the Yuri on Ice panel at Anime Fest. That was a time. That was a time. And that's just based on like crowd response and the size of the crowd. Like, I can't believe that I pulled that off. What else we got going on? There was the time after MTAC had ended that we were listening in on these like Christian Karens who were talking about like I'm trying to remember exactly. So they were talking about one of them being unhappy, or someone they know. It might have been like their friend, their mutual friend was like, oh my God. So their friend was unhappy in their marriage, and they were like, oh, we went to Pastor so-and-so for like figuring out what to do with this relationship that's unsatisfying or whatever. And what was it? She was just like, you know, you do what you can, and then sometimes you just gotta, and it was the like, take your fist and palm it in your other hand. Sometimes you just gotta, talking about going and like cheating on her husband, basically, at a Christian convention. Because like it was the Monday after, or the Monday after, or later on that Sunday, where like the next con was coming in, and that shit was wild. And they were like older women too. Like, this wasn't like two young college Christian girls. This was like MILFs. It was wild. I don't think they were MILFs either. That was the best. I mean, it'd be a better story if I feel like it would be a better story if it was two Christian MILFs, but yeah, that was a time. Yeah, a lot of my I try to keep it pretty chill. We did find out Squad will probably be doing San Japan. I'm excited. It's time for a convention. That is in San Antonio in end of August, beginning of September. Well, I could tell you a story about MILFs. If y'all really want a story time, I can tell y'all about MILFs. It is inappropriate for YouTube, though. I will say, too old to cosplay, Thea. Who are you joking? That's not a thing. I'm gonna submit my panels for San Japan and see if they'll let me talk about being a voice boy. Yeah, you just gotta find something light and fun that doesn't require a bunch of work. You could bring Finn. You could totally bring your Finn if you wanted to. I mean, to be fair, a voice boy, one of my panels is an 18 plus panel. And it's great. I love that panel. It's great. I think the craziest thing I've done at conventions is like meeting strangers and actually chatting. The Shota Aizawa 2 asks, if you like ramen, what's your favorite flavor? And out of all the people you've created out of nowhere, who else likes ramen? My favorite ramen is the hold on, let me make sure I don't fuck this up. Yeah, Shin Ramen. Just the regular one in the red pack. It's great. It's so spicy. Oh, that's my favorite. As for the boys, I feel like Faust is probably the biggest weeb. So Faust is on there, and Alphonse would like ramen as well. And Lucian probably loves very, very, very spicy ramen. Yes. And great job getting me away from what oh yeah, I put cheese in it. The reason I started eating it is because there was the viral put a half can of cream of mushroom soup in it, and fuck, it's so good. I'll also, like, if I really want to be fancy, I'll get a rotisserie chicken and shred it and put a bunch of chicken in it too. Oh fuck. Oh, that's so good. Right, the MILF story. Look. Okay. I don't know if there's a censored way for me to tell this story. I had a friend who would drag me into a lot of questionable situations. And yes, Thea, this is the one with Joe. We drive these cougar types, drive them home. They were out of old Chicago. We drive them home, and Joe has history with them apparently. So like, he never really explained. I think he banged one of them, and like, the thing was, he banged one, but he really wanted to bang the other one. So he's like, he's trying to use that connection with the one that really wants him bad to get at her friend. Joe was a whole mess. Joe was a whole mess. So I'm like, I'm not involved in this. I'm just the driver. And they live in the burbs, and this is when I was broke. So like, I'm driving a car that isn't mine because Joe's license is revoked. We drive them home. They're like, you guys want to come in, have a few drinks or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I was not like, yeah, sure. I was like, I'll wait in the car, Joe. And Joe goes, he gets them in. They're like, what did they fucking say? They like needed help with their fucking grandma or something. I don't know. Grandma's old and she had been partying too, I guess. I don't remember exactly. So I'm like waiting in the car, and he's like, nah, man, come on. They want to chill. And my social anxiety was at its peak at this time. And I'm like, fine, dude, whatever. And I'm like, I'm not prepared for any of this. So go in. It's a big, nice house. And we go out back and we're having drinks. 1, 2, skip a few. Before the night is through, I have had a woman's business in my face. And she's telling me to see if I can find a gray hair. And I am like incredibly embarrassed, not feeling this, freaking out. She's like, she's trying to throw it at Joe desperately. The other one is chill. She goes in to handle herself. I shit you not. she asked her friend, do you have that rabbit that you didn't unbox? And her friend's really embarrassed. So she goes in to use that, and the other one's chill. And Joe's like, he's trying to seal the deal with this girl, and it's not happening. I go in to pee. I'm drunk now. I piss all over their guest bathroom. I'm like wobbling. It's the size of a broom closet, and I'm a big man. And to be fair, I wasn't that young. I was just scared. And I'm like wobbling around. I pee all over their room. I pee all over the guest bathroom to the point where there's puddles. So I'm like trying to clean it up, but it's on the walls. Like you can't, it's bad. So I go and get Joe, and I'm like, hey man, we gotta go. And he's like, okay, we'll wrap it up. Cause he's realizing like it's not happening. Homegirl comes back, and we're ready to not have to deal with her. And Joe's like, what happened? I'm like, bro, I pissed all over their bathroom. We gotta go. And we left. So there you go. Anywho, nothing will sober you up more than freaking out because you just peed in a stranger's bathroom like that. So all's well that ends well. But yeah, I was not, because she was all like, ooh, I just got waxed. Go on, see if you could bro. Oh. It was a lot. You know, if I was in a different era of my life, like, that could have gone a whole different way. But I was sweating, so anxious, so freaked out. I was not into anything that was happening. It was not good. There you go. That's a fairly clean version of it. It's still a mess, but the uncensored version, I mean, that's basically it. It's just she was saying shit that was very unbecoming of a lady. I had to go, dude. I was like, we can't. I would have, had any of them gone in there and seen, I would have cried. I would have actually cried. Oh man. Anonymous asked, does Oron hate junk food? I wouldn't say hates it, but like he avoids it. Aaron asked, what's your favorite color? That's tough. I like purple. I like purples. I like reds. Purples and reds, I guess. The thing is, I don't think Grandma could have made it to that bathroom or something. Grandma was upstairs, I think, actually. For the record, when I said I wanted to ask about MILFs, I meant Trish and Mama Oron. Shit. Well, I don't remember what actually got me to that. Somebody wanted to hear a story, so you've got a story out of me. Yeah, no. Like, most of the time, I wouldn't have been mad at. In theory, it sounds okay, but like, Homegirl was so. I answered a question the other day on Tumblr where someone was like, have you ever been called cringe? Like, what do you do about it? whatever. And I was just like, anyone who unironically calls anything cringe is a child, and what do I fucking care about somebody who can't turn in their homework on time? But that MILF was very cringe. I was cringing. It was she was talking about I don't remember which oil it was. Was it vegetable oil or olive oil? Using it as a lubricant. She was talking about using it as a lubricant. And then asked where she could find a bottle, which doesn't make any sense because you could just ask if she had lube that you could go use. So yeah, I guess there are times where the MILF can be very cringe. You did a whole survey about why that's wrong? She needed that information. What the? Don't attack my sack, bro. What was that? This cat Haru just did a backflip at my junk. A Family Feud question. That's wild. Haru said, "Have you chosen violence, little man? Name something that shouldn't be used as lube." That's fair. Oh, man. Condiments. Oh, boy. Yeah. Yeah, I've been dragged into a lot of scenarios. Oh, there's the kidnapping of grandma. You said naked grandma, but it reminded me that we kidnapped a grandma one time. We didn't actually. She was delivered to her home, but we were definitely getting set up to get carjacked. So we had to go, and grandma had to come with us. So this is a whole other story. I don't know if we all right. So Joe knew various, I don't know if she was a lady of the night, but she was somewhat, so we lived in a rough part of town near the downtown area of our town. And you would see all kinds of interesting characters walking our streets at night. One of them was this lady who Joe described to me as, she's the one, here's what Joe said. Did you read in the paper how somebody tried to shoplift sushi from Kroger's? And I'm like, no. Why would you shoplift sushi from Kroger? And he's like, oh, well, this is my homegirl. I don't remember her name. And you know what it was? We were sitting, something fucked up had happened. We were both bummed out about something. And we're sitting in his driveway, sitting in the Jeep, and thinking about like, do we go get drinks? Do we fucking play Madden all night? What are we gonna do? And here she comes walking down the street, and it's only like 11. It's only like 11, and she sees us sitting in the vehicle and flags down Joe, and Joe goes to talk to her. And bear in mind, I'm the one who has to drive. And he's like, hey, we're gonna give her a ride. And he's like, she's gonna give us, because we were both broke, he's like, she's gonna give us some of her food stamp money, apparently, which I don't even know how that would work. But she had to, this sounds so fucking fucked up and not true. She was like, I have to go get it, down from this store on Riverside. And I know the gas station that she's talking about, and it is not fucking safe. I have self-preservation skills. Joe does not. So I'm like, okay, we got to do what? He's like, we got to go pick up her grandma. We got to pick up her grandma, go to the store, and then take her to a pretty dangerous neighborhood. And this is all local to us. Like, this is all, it's all in like a 10-minute radius of our area. That's where I lived. And like, I've been around. Like, I was not, being in the area was not the problem. Doing shit that puts you in compromising positions when you're in the area is how you get caught up in some shit. And I shouldn't be the one to know that, because Joe's the one who gets caught up in the shit. Eden, I can give you an update if you really want to know. So like, I got no, the way that I operate is I can deal with people and it's fine, but I know when a thing is a bad idea and I know when to get out of it. So we go and we pick up grandma. That was the only thing that made me feel remotely safe, is like, we have a literal grandmother with her, right? Like, this is her grandma. So, okay. Never made it clear why we needed the grandma. So we start going, and I had my long hair, and she really liked me. She's like, oh, I love your hair. Ooh, I love your hair. Don't ever let nobody tell you you ain't a beautiful man. Don't ever cut your hair. And bless her, because that actually was really sweet. But also, she's touching my hair. And we go to the fucking store, and it is really shady. Some shady shit's going on. Now, like, there's a few ways that things could be going on. You have things that you could exchange for a potentially stolen food stamp card. That might be what was happening, I think. The thing is, and that's fine. Like, I'm a big, not my fucking business type of guy. Big, not my business type of guy. And, you know, of course, she comes out with a brown paper bag and allegedly a food stamp card. And at this point, I'm like palms sweaty, knees weak, mom spaghetti. Like, we definitely, the odds of us having something illegal in the vehicle just went through the roof. The odds of us having something illegal in the video in the vehicle just escalated. So we like, now she says, hey, we have to stop in. Okay, at the start I said that I knew we had to go there. We did not know we had to go there first. We thought we were just going to get it and then go back and drop them off and it was done. But no. And the thing is, she probably told Joe and Joe omitted that from me, which is probably what happened. So we're driving up and like, it's not great, man. You do not, it's a fucking, I think it's a Friday night. It's a weekend night for sure. And we are going to a really sketchy area where, I will put it this way. When we pulled up, we pulled up, and we are at, we're in the projects is where we're at. And so the way it is there's blocks of housing, and she has us park between two buildings. And I don't know how to explain. I guess I'm just gonna keep going, and I will explain where my mentality was at the time. So she has us park in between the two buildings, which is the not well lit spot. She gets out. She says, "I'll be right back." She goes not up to a door where there's like a lit thing. She goes around one of the buildings and is, who knows, probably goes in through the back door of a place. There might be a front door that's on the other side of the building. I don't know. And it's taken a while. And you don't, growing up where I grew up, there's some facts of life that you learn. You don't put a fucking white boy and Joe, who was a lot of things, white boy and Hispanic looking fellow. You don't put them, two young'uns, on the block in the dark on a fucking weekend night. And 5 minutes pass. A white boy and Joe. Literally that. A white boy and Joe. And you're inviting problems. You're not where you're supposed to be. And after about like 5+ minutes, I'm like, hey man, me and Joe keep side-eyeing each other, and Grandma is in the back. We keep side-eyeing each other, and Joe knows our radar is going off. Like, this is a really good way to set somebody up for a carjacking. I know that. Joe knows that. Grandma probably doesn't know what's going on. So now it's been like 10 minutes and I'm like, I don't like this. I say it. I'm like, I don't like this. So it's like, yeah, dude, I don't fucking like this either. And I do not remember if we had a means of self-defense in the vehicle at this time or not. Which is to say, we did at one point, but I don't think we did then. Nor would I have wanted, that would not have made me feel safe. Either way. So I'm like, hey, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down the hill. We're gonna pull up into the gas station. And I don't even want to pull up into this gas station because this is the one where you were absolutely, positively inviting fucking problems pulling up to there. You were fucking asking for trouble. So I'm like, we're just gonna go down and we will circle back around. And we start going, and Grandma's like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't leave her. Da 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 da. I'm like, we're just gonna go turn around. We're just gonna go turn around. We'll be right back. And Grandma is like fussing, and she's like trying to call her daughter. And finally she gets her on the phone, and Joe's on there, and she's like, why'd you take my grandmama? And I could hear her screaming at Joe, and I'm like, we're just turning around, we're gonna be right back, we're coming right back. Grandma was hooping and hollering. Anywho, she got back in the car, we took him home, and everything was fine. But never have I been so sure that if we did not force something to happen, some bad shit was gonna happen. Because, like, what was in the brown bag? Who were we taking it to? Are we dealing with someone who is in need of things? And what are they willing to do to acquire things? And, like, I just know situations. I have been around shit. And now it's a funny story about kidnapping a grandma. But back then, I was like, it is one of those things where like I just look at Joe, I'm like, we are not doing this dumb shit. And then we behaved for a few weeks probably. Yeah, no, it's just like there are, when you grow up in parts of towns like that and stuff, the nice thing is like we do know people. Like we were the type of dudes who were cool with everybody. Like me and my whole little group of friends, we were really cool with everybody. Like I was the funny ass white kid and I was in good with everybody. So that was all great. Got along with everybody. And you know things, you know people, but like even though we're cool with everybody, being parked in the darkest little part of the street where shit goes down is not where you want to be. So that being said, I loved my hair a lot more after that. Anywho, great story. And that, I mean, thankfully, the nice thing about that story is it's very funny that we kidnapped a grandma for a brief moment. But yeah, no, there were a lot of times where I would find myself in situations I did not want to be in, that I did not ask to be in, but I felt obligated at the time. So yeah. She did love my hair. But I did not love all that. All right, well, thank you for letting me share that story. Anywho, some of the shenanigans that occur in the content, like the shit that Seth and Alphonse were getting up to, it's not stuff that I was entirely unfamiliar with. We had friends who had family in certain clubs, places we were welcome to visit if we wanted to. I did not really want to. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on. I like the nights where we just made chili cheese fries, got drunk, and played Madden. That was a fun time. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go get some water and some dinner. Did I eat dinner? I don't think I ate dinner. I will have a snack. Ugh. Oh, no kidding. Yeah, no kidding. Joe was gonna shorten my life expectancy. Yep. All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for wishing Jackie a happy birthday. Have a wonderful rest of your time zone. Bye-bye.